So anybody would like to answer the question or put it in a chat? What is one of your biggest time wasters in a day? Like what kind of takes away your time when you realize, oh, wish I had more control over this aspect. So you can use
Regretting about the past.
regretting about the past. Hmm.
Speculation and planning.
Planning. Well, one is past, one is future. And yeah, sometimes like procrastination also. Like means sometimes I think, okay, I'll do this thing later. Morning, Shreyas Prabhu, welcome.
Good morning, Prabhu. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
So we're just having this question like, what is one of our biggest time wasters? So different answers came up. One is like thinking about the past, one is thinking about planning for the future. I was saying how procrastination is one thing, like I'll do okay later, but it kind of creates delay. Or the mobile phone, so many different time wasters that everybody has. So it could be TV, it could be social media or news or just thinking, uh, or like Netflix. So many other different things. Actually, they take away more time than what they actually deserve from our life from doing something else. That's when specifically, and typically it's all because of the mind. That's why Krishna is saying if we practice regularly, then we'll be able to actually detach the mind and control it. So, and that's why we see how mind is a powerful servant. When the mind is focused, you can get so much done in such a short time, even sometimes. But it can be a dangerous master. Like otherwise, it won't let you do something like can be sitting on your table for 20 days and you won't just pick it up and throw it in a trash can. Like if the mind is not there, then it just like will make us do so many other things, but we'll never be able to do what's good for us. And sometimes, so it said the mind creates reality, because our thoughts actually becomes words, our words manifest in actions, actions become our habit, habit forms our character, so the character determines our decisions and destiny. So in that sense, mind creates reality in this world for us, the immediate reality and a very long-term reality also. So it just not just creates reality, but it also actually translates reality. Like there are problems for everyone in life, but our mind can make those problems bigger than they are because it translates reality in its own way. Like how to understand this? You put the same situation to different people, depending on their own modes. One person may see an opportunity, the other person may see a problem. One person may be irritated, the other person may be like, it does not matter. Like I was just coming, like the train was halting more than necessary in a particular station. It was just like waiting for 15 minutes. So I could see it creates frustration. And then different people react differently. Somebody can just be like kind of yelling and cussing the driver or the system. Somebody may be just in the on their phone just minding their business. Someone is like quiet and calm, closing their eyes, like I don't want to do anything with that. So we are all in the same situation, but you see like the expressions of or translating that reality or perceiving that reality is completely different. So one person may be grateful, the other person may be frustrated. So one may see growth, the other may see, oh, it's too limiting. So in this way, mind is a very powerful part of our life. We constantly live with it. So that is why Krishna says it is better to live with a friend than to live with an enemy. So how many of you had this like experience of living with a roommate or like a dorm mate who wasn't like very like kind of cooperative? On the other hand, you probably had this experience of staying with another roommate or a dorm mate who's like really a nice person. It makes life much more easier sometimes. So Krishna is saying if you really want to now make a smooth life, then you better make your mind a friend, because we are going to spend most of our times. Actually, I use this slides for some other class. I don't Okay, let's go with this. So here are some questions to actually judge what is the state of our mind. Like, what's happening? Where is my mind? Is it in this spectrum of reality or on the other spectrum of reality? So these are some of the questions you can look at, you can actually think. So for me, one of the important things I see is like during a disagreement or conflict, if I'm actually in a good consciousness, I'll not take it very seriously. At least I will have space before I respond. I can just control myself and then, okay, let's think about it properly and respond in a nicer way. But if I'm like kind of emotionally caught up, then I can just be blasting. So it shows the state of my mind. Like if I had like in general just like kind of kept it more nourished and more grounded, and if I'm not like kind of overcome by it, then I'm not like too disturbed. Otherwise I can become very, very overwhelmed. So these are the different questions that we all can think about. Okay, what happens when I start thinking about my future? Do I see confidence? Okay, come what may, I can make this. There is not a problem. World is big, there are more opportunities. It's not a big deal. So having this kind of a positive outlook or having a negative outlook, it kind of decides what is the state of our mind. Excuse me. So, and that's what leads us to this topic, that how mind is like this inner browser. We all use Chrome, Firefox, Safari, whatever device you use. So they all have a home page. As soon as you start, they show some of the news. They show some of the past, based on your past. It shows something already not determined by us, determined by the browser. So there is something on the home page. How many of the times like you have opened it and then you're like, some of the news is so interesting and you opened the browser for something else, but the news is so interesting, you just click on it. After a half hour, you realize, oh my God, I came to do something. So the mind also keeps throwing so many things. It will randomly remember something and you just become very busy thinking about it. When you're trying to do something, it thinks of something in the past or present or future, all kinds of things. And based on our history, based on what we have usually given our mind, the food for the mind, based on that, it will show all that history. You will be able to see. There are the easy options you go to. If you're constantly opening a particular web page, it's going to be there on the top. In Chrome, you see it's all listed. What are your recent mostly visited pages? And you also have favorites. You can just click on the star and then like you can note it down as a favorite. Then it's going to stay on the favorite bookmark bar or something like that. So in this way, the mind also has all these things. The mind usually tends to go where you have gone always. So it is a way that we program it. We have to program it so that the mind can naturally go towards good things. And also autocomplete. You start typing a mail or a text these days, it shows you the autocomplete. Similarly, mind also has, somebody says something, but we kind of autocomplete it in our own mind, depending on our own experience. Oh, this person looked at me because they are thinking bad about me, or they don't respect me, that's why they said this. So we kind of autocomplete, the mind autocompletes. And also pop-ups, random. You sometimes go to these websites, they just throw so many pop-ups, so many ads. You just like, my God, like I just wanted a recipe here, and it's like throwing up all these pop-ups. Like similarly, mind also can throw up all the pop-ups which may not be necessary. And once we click it, it can just go or take us somewhere else which we were not intending. So mind has all these nature, kind of shares this nature like an inner browser. And it's what is helps us, like how these browsers actually help us access internet. Similarly, mind also helps us access the inner reality and the outer reality. It connects. It's a bridge that connects the inner reality with the outer reality. So it's very important that we keep this clean. So that is the whole process of chanting Hare Krishna, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, cleaning the mirror of mind. Because then there is transparency. You can see what is inside and what is outside properly. So it's a two-way mirror. This mirror shows you what is inside and also shows you what is outside, for what it is truly. Any answers? Like if this question is asked, who's the cause of my suffering? what are the common answers you might expect from people?
Since it's me who overthinks, I suppose it's me who's the cause of my suffering.
Yeah, it's me and
In the case
problem.
of overthinking.
True. Any other
But I'm not sure if that would be the answer for all kinds of suffering. Like if we are in an accident where we had no fault, then we might not be the cause of our suffering.
Yeah, somebody else. True. People may say karma is the problem, or like kind of destiny, or like they may say God is the cause of my suffering. All kinds of reasons can be there. Some people may see themselves or others, the government, uh, all kinds of things, the rich people, the kind of corporates. So much can be the cause of the weather, the global warming, all kinds of things is also, it's not wrong. There is ultimate cause and an immediate cause in all of these things. However, what does Bhagavatam say? Bhagavatam says like mind is a cause of one's suffering. There is this whole pastime. We may not be able to get into it. Lavadut Brahman says, it's not the karma, it's not the other people. They cannot give me happiness or distress. It is in my mind. I can create a reality in which even if the external circumstances are not according to what is usually considered pleasant, still I can be happy and peaceful if my mind is actually connected to Krishna. If I can see the purpose of life, and if things are clear, my mind can actually not be disturbed. Because when the mind is disturbed, you can be in the best of the places. You may be in the best restaurant, or in the, you may be on a cruise, you may be on a best vacation. But if your mind is disturbed, everything is going out of the window. You can be the most grumpy in a highly paid vacation. At the same time, you may be stuck in a station, but if your mind is like happy, if your mind is in a good space, you don't care actually. You're just like, you can find happiness. I'm saying not even on a devotional perspective, even on a normal life perspective. So he says that mind is the cause of one's suffering. So that is why Krishna is saying, yes, it's very important that we take care of this mind, and through regular practice and detachment from the mind, we can actually control it. And he also, this is not exactly in this section, but I just put everything that I know about mind, I think, in this presentation. I was giving another talk, so I used this section. So I'm going to share with all of you also. So Krishna speaks about, it's an Upanishadic thing. It comes from the Shvetashvara Upanishad. It is also it's in the Kata Upanishad. So it speaks about journey of life. It says how the chariot is the body, soul is the passenger, intelligence is the driver, mind is the reins of the chariot, which the horses are connected to, and the senses are the horses. So it says how the intelligence, the driver, needs to be very strong to control the reins very strongly. Then the soul can actually reach its destination. And that's the purpose of the body, to get the soul to its destination. So it's like a journey of life. It's the process of the machine, the process and the purpose of the chariot is to actually get the soul, the passenger, to its destination. And the intelligence needs to be very strong, and the mind needs to be controlled. The moment the mind is let loose, the reins are let loose, then the horses go in different direction, and then the chariot collapses. Yes, Purva.
Prabhuji, but doesn't the intelligence come from the mind? So, in case of overthinking, for example, how do we know whether we are being intelligent about the problem, or are we overindulging in negative thoughts? Or I don't know, like, because I always think that the intelligence comes from the mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we are going to take that thing in the next slide. So thank you for that question. It actually helps me go to the next slide easily. So it's a valid question. What is the role of intelligence? Where it is coming from? What is the role of mind? So before that, we are speaking about like the uncontrolled mind, but the mind could be controlled via intelligence. So do you agree with that? Like sometimes, say for example, I go to Whole Foods, I look at something, oh wow, this looks really amazing, some food item, and I turn the kind of cover, and then I look, oh, it says eggs in there. I'm like, it's no more attractive. I'm like, I'm not going to touch it, because my intelligence has kind of got activated. First my emotions came into picture, like, wow, this looks amazing. This must be good, because it was just my emotion looking at it. But the intelligence thought, okay, let me check the ingredients. But the moment you saw the ingredients are not going to be um, favorable to my spiritual life, then I'm like, I'm no more attached to it. So the intelligence can help the mind control, can help the emotions be controlled. So we can have controlled mind via intelligence. However, there is an end, there is a certain amount of strength that our own intelligence possesses. But that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, you strengthen your intelligence by connecting to Krishna, because Krishna has much more, what do you call, is that once you connect with Krishna, then the intelligence is very strong. He says in the chapter 2, verse 66 also, that Nasti buddhir ayuktasya nacha ayuktasya bhavana yatah shantir ashantasya kutas sukham. He says, Na asti buddhir ayuktasya. Ayukta means one who is not connected with Krishna. Where is the strong intelligence? So he says, by connecting with him, then naturally the intelligence becomes stronger, spiritually also stronger. Then the mind naturally becomes subservient. That is its natural state. So coming back to what do you call it? Purva's question, there is this hierarchy of self-control that Krishna speaks in chapter 3 also he spoke. Who leads who? So there is matter, which is any matter, like this phone, this table, and all of this is matter. But my eyes, but my hands, my body, they're also actually matter. However, this matter is inert, but this matter, the eyes and my body, is a matter which is in connection with the soul. So the senses are considered higher matter, and also it has the inner sense organs. Like there is a vision. I can see even when I close my eyes, and I can see things in my mental eye. So they are higher than the gross matter, because it is very subtler. Have you had this experience, like how we all see dreams, right? We have a whole picture painted, like a whole movie coming out when we are sleeping, but the eyes are closed. So where is the vision happening? It's called as the inner eye. There is an internal vision, inner senses. And then there is mind. So what is about the mind according to that analogy? So according to this analogy, what is about the mind?
Intelligence.
Intelligence, yes. And what is above intelligence?
The soul.
Yes. Who's above the soul?
Super soul.
Yes. The soul is above the super soul. And that's what we see here, that Krishna says in the chapter 3 also, that Indriyani paranyahur indriyebhya param manaha manasastu para buddhir yo buddhe paratastu saha. And then he says this soul should be connected to Krishna, then the intelligence gets actually strengthened, so the mind becomes naturally controlled. So connecting this to Purva's question, does the intelligence come from the mind? I would say, according to the scriptures, the mind, intelligence, and the ego, they are all like one unit. It is called as chitta. You have heard this Hindi term chitta, chintan, we say chitta. It's chetana, although all of those things are connected. So the chitta is a subtle body. Depending on its function, it could be called as mind, intelligence, or ego. How it functions, because when my emotions are acting, that's the mind center of the subtle body is active. But I also have an intelligence center of my subtle body. I also have an ego center of my subtle body. So they all very subtly interact. It takes some kind of refinement to understand what's getting activated. Is it my ego? Is it my intelligence? Is it my mind? That comes through gradual practice, but they're not coming from one another. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, they are all material energy. In the next chapter, we will see. Bhumir, apa, anala, vayu, kamhano, buddhirevacha, ahankara iti yame, bhinna prakriti rashtada. He says, earth, water, fire, air, ether, these 5 gross elements. And then there are 3 subtle elements, he says, mind, intelligence, and ego. All those 3 also come from Krishna. And they are called as material energy. So it's not the intelligence is coming from mind, rather they all are part of the subtle body, and ideally the mind is supposed to function under the intelligence. We all have that experience in daily life also. what happens with someone whose intelligence is not able to control their habits? They become addicts, right? Even we see that, like if you live in New York City, it's just there everywhere. So that people are like, I'm not even speaking about digital addiction, which is the case for 90% of the people in the world today. I'm not even speaking about digital addiction. I'm speaking about people are addicted to very harmful things for themselves, which is completely destroying their lives. But why is it they are unable to? Because their intelligence being completely overcome by their mind. So that is why Krishna is saying, if you really want to have a healthy, happy, balanced life in a normal sense, still controlling the mind is very, very important. Most of the crimes in the world happens because of lack of mind control, be it thievery or murders or be it or any kind of things. All of majority of the crime happens because of lack of mental purity in the world, and nobody actually addresses that. It's like the whole pumpkin is hidden in the rice. Like there is an elephant in the room. None of the psychologists speak about that in this way, that just how having a mental hygiene helps create a better society. Better individuals make better society. So the intelligence is not coming from mind. It's all part of the subtle body, which is the material matter, which is coming from Krishna. So Purva, did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Thank you. So actually we are getting into the chapter for the day. I'm sorry for the delay, like the long intermediate section. And so when Arjuna said, oh my God, I cannot actually follow this. And when Krishna said, no, you can actually, by regular practice and detachment, your mind can be controlled. So then Arjuna's question, what should be Arjuna's natural question? Just think about it. If you say, oh, this particular program is so difficult, and if I say, no, if you regularly practice and if it will become easier. So what is the natural question of a student?
How do you practice it?
How to practice it, right? So if I say, if a teacher says, oh, this is a very difficult subject, if you want to clear this exam, you have to regularly study. So the natural question is, how can I regularly study? But what Arjuna asks is funny. He asks, what if I fail this exam? Will I not graduate? That's what he is asking. So he asks, what happens to like a student who fails in yoga, who actually does not complete the yoga successfully? It's not a very kind of a natural question. So if you ask the teacher, what happens if I fail in the exam? What happens to the students who don't complete their assignment or does not submit and complete their class? So here Arjuna is asking that very question. He says, oh, Krishna, what happens to someone who starts the path of self-realization with faith? Actually, he has faith, but later gets distracted by worldly desires and does not attain perfection. So what happens to this person who has failed in yoga? And it's a question which comes from a deep psychology of Arjuna. We will see that in the next slide. And he also wonders if such a person, if such a yogi, if he becomes lost both materially and spiritually, because he is not materially successful, he has given it up, and he won't be spiritually successful because he is unable to do the yoga. So he says, will I become like a riven cloud, broken cloud without any place to go and eventually disintegrate? And he also seeks clarity from Krishna because he believes only Krishna can actually dispel his doubt. So this is Arjuna's qualification. So having doubt is not a problem. So having doubts in spiritual life, in general in life, is not a problem. It's a sign of intelligence. It's one of the important signs of intelligence is doubt. However, some people, they just want to have doubt. They don't want answers. They're just happy having doubts and thinking there is no one in the world who can answer my doubts. They feel superiority about it. So that is called as being cynical. So being cynical means like, I'm happy having a doubt and don't give me answers. I'm not ready to take it. So this is called as being cynical. So, but here Arjuna is showing having doubt is not a problem. That is the sign of intelligence. It's amazing as a teacher when students ask doubts and questions. When a teacher is being challenged in a good way, it's not a problem. But here Arjuna also shows that he has faith in Krishna, and that's why he is explaining his doubt. Sometimes we see in social media and all of these things, people come and throw doubts at you, throw questions at you, and they're not even wanting to listen to your answer. They just ask you the question and get away. So that is not the right attitude. But here Arjuna shows that how he not just has doubt, but he also has faith in Krishna that he expresses. Excuse me. So he also expresses his faith in Krishna, and he is asking him, please dispel my doubt. And after that, we see from the verses 40, like Krishna is assuring that suddenly Krishna's mood changes. He says, oh, Arjuna, don't worry. Anyone who engages in spiritual life, there is never destruction for that person, because spiritual life is on the level of the soul. Soul is eternal, so the investment is also eternal. So investment on the spiritual level is an eternal investment. And he says, whether in this world or in the next, no good effort is wasted. If somebody has invested in good things in life, and especially spiritual things also, it never goes for a waste. And he says a very nice statement. He says, never a good person will be overcome by evil forever. It may seem like temporarily they are overcome, but never a good person of good deeds never becomes overcome by evil forever. So, and then he speaks how, so he's like kind of encouraging Arjuna, don't become so like kind of despondent. So he says, he speaks about the destiny of an unsuccessful yogi from 41 verses 41 and 42. He speaks how that an unsuccessful yogi, it's not everything is lost. He says he may enjoy heavenly pleasures in his next life, or he may take birth in a family of very pious or wealthy people in the next life. And also he says, okay, some of these yogis who have unfinished work, they may even take birth in a family of very wise spiritual practitioners, because it's a very rare and a favorable birth for spiritual life. But that is to continue the spiritual journey that they have started in the previous life. And we see that in the association of devotees, we see kids having interest in spiritual life right in a very young age, which is very unusual for their age. So it shows that how, of course, like an environment, when you are growing up in a particular environment, it actually helps, but it's not all the kids take to it in the same way. So there is difference. You see among the various kids who get in touch with it also, each one has a different thing, because it's all coming from previous life. Also, it's also can be helped by the current circumstances, by how we deal with the parents, how we encourage this to our kids. However, there is something which is coming from previous life also. So he says either you will get heavenly pleasures, or you will get life in a very wealthy or pious people, or you may get birth in a very highly spiritually evolved family. So why he is saying that? He is saying because you will get to continue the spiritual progress that you made in the previous life. The yogi gets to continue the spiritual progress. So that's what he explains in verses 43 to 45. He says how after such a birth, either in one of these three families, the yogi can revive his divine consciousness. Especially if he has achieved a very high level of spiritual consciousness, then he is usually born in a spiritual family. Even otherwise, he revives the divine consciousness from the previous life. And the verse 44 is amazing. It's one of my favorite verses. It says, the yogi becomes naturally attracted to the yogic principles, even without looking for it. It just comes very naturally from inside. This person is going to go towards Krishna in the next life. Even he does not know why he is doing that. It's just like kind of a natural flow, like how a river flows towards the ocean. Like that, he is going to naturally go towards a serious spiritual life, transcending all mundane rituals. And then with sincere effort and purification, the yogi can eventually achieve perfection. So what Krishna is saying is, there is no loss. Let at least endeavor in spiritual life. If you won't become successful, still there is no loss. So that's why he's trying to encourage Arjuna. And we ask this question, like, why is Arjuna worrying about failure? So we asked about that. Already we spoke how it's very weird that he is worrying about the failure, but why? Because this whole section, as I explained in the previous weeks, I'm repeating that Krishna is speaking chapter 6 or in a playful tone, in a naughty tone also. So I gave this example how sometimes the kids don't listen to us when we say, don't do this, this is a very hot thing, don't touch it, it will hurt you. But if the kid actually throws tantrum, no, no, I want it immediately, I want to touch it, or I want to handle this knife, or I want to go operate the stove, or I want to go open the oven, I want to just take the tray out from the oven, I want to do it myself, I want to mix this hot milk. So people like, or you just mix a coffee or tea something, and then you say, oh, it's very hot, just wait for 2 minutes. So you say, it's too hot, just wait. So Divya Mataji may tell Mahidar, the tea is too hot, just wait for 2 minutes. Or the sambar is very hot, don't touch it. But like, no, no, I really want it. So then he may try. So then Mataji may stop. Oh no, don't do that, Mahidar. But eventually he may not listen. She may say, okay, try. So he will just touch it. He will just try to take one sip, and then no, no, this is very hot. So then Mataji may say, oh no, it should be okay, try. You really wanted to try, right? Just try. No, 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 this is too hot. Okay, don't worry. Just keep it, wait for 2 more minutes. So the mood changes, like how a mother deals with a child. Similarly, Krishna is dealing with here, Arjuna here. First, he wants to become a yogi desperately. Come what may, I'll become a yogi, I'll become a yogi, I'll become a yogi. Krishna has been so patient for chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, trying to explain him, boy, it's not your deal. You are not suited for that. It comes on a later stage. Better become detached in your work, and eventually you will get there. But he's adamant, no, I want to become a yogi. He's infatuated with becoming a yogi, going to the forest, because the idea is I can escape the fight. So Krishna is explaining what it takes to become a yogi. So then when he realizes, when Arjuna realizes, oh my God, this is so tough. So then he's like, oh Arjuna, Krishna, I can even control the wind, but not the mind. So Krishna is still teasing him. No, Arjuna, with practice and detachment, you should be able to control the mind. You are a great personality. You really wanted to be a yogi. I think you can do it. So that's when he's literally, no, he's like completely panicking. No, tell me what happens to a failed yogi. So now Krishna actually changes the mood. He has like achieved what he has wanted already. So he's not continuing to tease Arjuna anymore. Now he wants to actually, what do you call, like embrace Arjuna and like kind of pat him on the back and like, no, it's like, okay, you want to see a horror movie, you put it on the TV, but the child actually starts screaming and yelling and comes and embraces you. I told you not to watch this movie, it's a horror movie, but you really want it. So then they will, okay, let me just put off the TV, switch on the lights, there is nothing here, and then this is all on the screen, it's an imagination. So it's kind of like comforting. So Krishna is now comforting. No, Arjuna, don't lose your self completely. Don't become too overwhelmed. There is never an unsuccessful yogi. Never that particular thing, that whatever he has invested in life never goes in vain. Excuse me. So Krishna is very encouraging now. Oh no, yogi never loses things because he has invested in spiritual life. Anybody who has done something good never becomes overcome by evil. So don't lose your heart. If not this life, in the next life, the person actually gets benefit. So he is now speaking to Arjuna and also to us. It's happening both ways. He's encouraging the practitioners that don't worry about failure or success in spiritual life, because it is a path where in Bhagavatam it comes, Krishna says spiritual life is such a path that where you are forcibly dragged to perfection eventually once you start it. Not in the sense force meaning a bad connotation. It's like you take this particular road, that is the only destination you get. you may take detours, you may take delays, you may just stop and watch scenery, you may stop for in a rest area. However, this road is going to lead you to that destination. As long as you're traveling in the road, it's going to take you to that destination. You may take 4 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours, 2 days. It depends. However, the road is surely going to take you to the spiritual destination. Any questions? Because I know today I've been speaking too much. Any thoughts, any questions? Want to hear other voices in the room? How long?
Yes, I had a question.
Okay. Please go on.
Is there any right way or a wrong way to chant Hare Hare Krishna? Because sometimes we may just chant it while we are in the bus or just doing some tasks at home and not really thinking about Krishna or not thinking anything about spirituality or nothing. You're just like mindlessly just chanting it. Or should it be only done like when we are only thinking about Krishna and having his image in front of us?
Ideally, both. A regulated practice is something you do with attention, with clear intention that I'm going to chant this many rounds. So that we usually try to take out the time, the best possible given your lifestyle. If you could mold it in such a way that you sit or at least you have some exclusive time, and the rest of the time it can go on like a background. That's not a problem. That's not disrespect. That's actually nice, actually, because you're having something going on in the back. The mind always has that. The mind always has that. I need to plug in my laptop. Just give me a second. Sorry. Like as I was saying, yes, we do have to have like a regulated practice, but these things can go on like a background, like chanting or a kirtan. So whatever is inside the mind, it always spills out. So it's good to fill it with attention and intention, and then whatever comes naturally is not a problem.
Well, I have a similar question on the same lines. Like, what's the difference between detachment and indifference?
Detachment is one does one's best in any particular responsibility, and then like is not very has a goal, has a plan, has a goal, does his best, and then accepts whatever comes, because we cannot control the reality 100%. We have some control over reality, but we are not the only controllers of all reality. So even be it in a relationship or in a work or in general life, health, everything, we do our full responsibility, whatever is within our capacity. So then we know at least we have tried fully. So then we won't have guilty consciousness. And so that is the detachment part comes after we actually fulfill our responsibility. It does not come before fulfilling the responsibility. So when it comes before fulfilling the responsibility, that is called as irresponsibility or indifference and all of those things.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Anybody else? So we also see, I took this from a book called Geeta 3 by S.B. Keshav Swami. So he says how in general the world actually trains us to think, okay, take care of the body, eat nicely, eat organic, also look attractive. So these are the goals that actually become is like kind of propaganda based, and that's all the ads are actually helping us think. That's what they are actually forcing us think, or makes us believe that this will make us happy. There's nothing wrong in training one's body or eating healthy or looking attractive, because that's not the end to becoming ultimately happy. But what Gita actually focuses on, okay, a person may be physically attractive or not. It's not like completely in one's control. We can try. However, training the mind is much more helpful, because however beautiful you are, however handsome you are, what happens when you're 60? What happens when you're 70? So the most beautiful actresses of the Hollywood, when she saw like a kind of her skin is shrinking, and she saw that, she just could not handle it. She committed suicide. Everyone in the world is becoming old. It's not a new thing. We are not the first persons in this world to grow old, to become ugly, or to actually lose our health. Nothing. Hundreds and thousands and millions of people are going through that right before our eyes. But still, because this person always had a self-image that I am the most beautiful, most wanted, most sought after woman of the whole of Hollywood. So how can I actually show or become old and become ugly and show my face to the world? They should just remember me as that most youthful person. So she just committed suicide because of that. So because there is lack of training of the mind. There's no problem for this person. She has enough money, she has so much fame, so she has so much influence, and people really liked her. But despite all of that, because the mind tricked, so this person did not see hope in life. So we may have the best strong bodies, we may eat healthy, we may look attractive, but we may not have hope in life. How many people commit suicide who are all like fulfilling all of these things? They have great health, they have great money, they look attractive, they have amazing influence, they are intelligent, they have great jobs or careers. Still we see people commit suicide because they have these things actually can help, but they don't help when you don't have a good mind. So the most important thing is what is inside. So we also need to work on creating an inner life which feels good than just focusing on the outer life. So the Insta and Facebook generation is all about creating a life which looks externally nice. Well, what about internally nice, in a life that feels good? So that's like Krishna is focusing that train your mind. It's not enough. Excuse me. It's not enough just to train your body or eat healthy or look attractive, but it's very important to train our minds. So that's what we can learn from this section. And the very last sections, we have a few minutes left and quite a few slides. So we saw the character analysis of what Arjuna is thinking, what Krishna is thinking. And then the lessons we can learn from this is, yes, as Krishna is saying, yes, we need to train our mind. And also there is no loss in spirituality. Krishna said in the earlier chapters too, that even a small endeavor in spiritual life saves oneself from the greatest danger. And we can think about, okay, how does this inspire me, thinking that there is no loss in spirituality? How does this inspire me in my personal practice? Does this actually inspire me, and in what way does it inspire me? And also we can think, what is the best investment we can make in our own life for ourselves? What is the best investment? There are many investments that we could make, and all are important, but what is one of the best investments, which is an eternal investment? So we can have money, we can give money to the kids, we can give money to the next generation, we can leave estates, property, bitcoins, and everything we can leave. However, all of these things are on a certain level temporary, because when we cannot take it, even they can take it. We leave behind because we cannot take it. Most people will surely would have taken it if they could have taken it. Believe me, if someone worked hard, they're not going to leave it all for the future generation alone. If only they could have taken it, many people would take most of what they actually earned. Because they cannot take it, they leave behind. And what they leave behind, we also cannot take it with us after this life. So it's important to have